Hey everybody, Tim here with today's review of James Bond, movie number 12, For Your Eyes Only. So this is at the time of this recording, there are 24 official Bond movies. So now we are halfway through them. And this is the first movie to come out in the 80s. This movie came out in 1981. So that's kind of interesting right there. Overall, this movie did not do it for me. I did not like it. I don't know, maybe it's just me in a funk, but I couldn't get through it. I thought it was really slow and really boring. I loved the last one with Moonraker, so maybe that's just the type of movies that I'm drawn to. And I had read that one was so, reliant on, the gadgets and the gimmicks and stuff like that. That for this one, they purposely wanted to kind of draw it back. And maybe that's just what didn't do it for me, is it was too serious. So from the very beginning, we see Bond going to Tracy's grave and putting some flowers there, and we have all the time in the world and stuff like that, which is a shout out to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which I thought was kind of interesting because they very rarely kind of reference past movies. So I really did like that. At this point, we have not seen Spectre or Blofeld for any of Roger Moore's career because of the whole courtroom stuff like that, fighting for rights. And so they weren't allowed to use Blofeld anymore. And so a character appears who is clearly been injured, although we never see his face, and he has a white cat, and it's kind of a shout. It's supposed to be Blofeld. And he's trying to kill Bond, but of course Bond gets the upper hand, picks him up with a helicopter and drops him down a shaft. And it's basically just a reference to hey, we can't use your character, fine, bye-bye. And he's gone. He does kind of show up in the unofficial Eon movie, Never Say Never Again, and then eventually, after everything is kind of worked out, we do see him way down the road in the 24th movie, Spectre. So I think it's just kind of interesting as a farewell to the character, which is unfortunate, but those Sean Connery movies did kind of rely on Blofeld a little too much. So I'm fine seeing him leave. So that is what it is. This is the first time that we actually see the singer sing the main title sequence, which I thought was kind of cool. When we actually finally get to the plot, Bond is called in and they talk about M is on leave. So Bernard Lee, who has played M since the first movie, Dr. No, had passed away. And out of respect for him, they just didn't include his character in this movie. And then he will be recasted in the next one with an actor who we'd already seen before, and I brought it up in that movie. So the automatic targeting attack communicator, or ATAC is what I'm calling it, ATAC, has been stolen. And I mean, that's kind of an interesting scene where we see the ship and they pick up the bomb and stuff like that. From here on out is where I was just okay, I just don't get it. Some of the scenes that just kind of stood out to me, where we see Havelock and his wife get killed, and the Dr. Melina, or the character Melina, his daughter Melina, survives and kind of watches her parents die. The pool fight was kind of entertaining. There's the car chase. We see Gonzalez, who had killed the Havelocks, in turn get killed by their daughter Melina. I don't know why I'm struggling with daughter. I called her doctor. I called her everything. Daughter Melina. So we see him get his revenge. Q and Bond have this terrible scene where they're trying to recreate the guy that Bond saw, and it's oh no, his eyes were narrower, oh no, his hair was this color, and it just kind of shows you 1981 technology, what they could and could not do. So they do end up finding him. Julian Glover is in this movie, that was actually pretty cool. I really like him as an actor. He has a couple bit part in Doctor Who. He's in Star Wars. He's in Indiana Jones. And he played, most recently, he's probably known for playing Pycelle in the Game of Thrones show. So that was kind of cool to see him pop up. Of course, as soon as he does, I'm oh, there's your villain, because he always plays a villain. The BB character was kind of uncomfortable as the skater. I guess she's supposed to be 16 or something. And she just definitely wants to jump Roger Moore's bones, and he's just like, nope, that's okay. And it kind of reminded me of Futurama for whatever, where I think it was Futurama, where the girl like keeps throwing herself on Fry, and Bender and Leela are like, stop it, she's too young. And Fry's like, I didn't do anything. And in this movie, I mean, Roger Moore is really getting up there in age. Because you got to remember, he was older than Sean Connery. So, like, he's kind of up there. And so to watch this young girl, like, keep throwing herself at him, and he's like, no. So, because he's like old enough to be her grandpa. So it's a little creepy. I didn't like it. There's all sorts of like skiing chase scenes going on. One of like the hitmen in those scenes is played by Charles Dance, who I thought that was kind of cool. Again, great actor. This is probably the youngest I've ever seen him. Like at first, originally probably the youngest was like The Last Action Hero. Again with the James Bond characters, because he plays Tywin Lannister, so that was kind of cool. And I think he was in the new Godzilla movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm pretty sure he was in that, if I remember the trailer correctly. So that was kind of cool. The ski chase scene was whatever. They go back to playing the cards again, so that's kind of a nice reference. The scene where the woman gets hit by a car was intense on the beach. Like, I was kind of surprised they did that. And in the same kind of ilk of that, watching Bond push the car off the bridge or whatever, that was a bit much. Q pretending to be the father, the minister, was a little bit kind of fun. And of course, by the time we get to the end of the movie, because at this point I was just like, okay, I'm done. Where we see like Margaret Thatcher on the phone with the parrot, I was like at this point, like they got away from the gimmicks and the gadgets and the sci-fi and stuff, but they went to like the other extreme where it's just like cheesy and like, why is this necessary? Overall, I did not like it. It was definitely not my favorite Bond movie. Definitely one towards the bottom. Could just be me in a bad mood. Who knows? That's why I'm watching these. Maybe I'll go back and rewatch it. So thank you guys for watching this. I'm kind of curious to see what your thoughts on it are. So, like I said, this movie came out in 1981. The next movie came out in 1983, which is interesting because it was Octopussy and Never Say Never Again. I'll do Octopussy first because that came out first. Like, I think it predated Never Say Never by like 2 months. Maybe a few months. It came out first. So, let me know what you guys think about this one, and I will see you guys next time for Octopussy.